What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing honestly the most fun team I've used all season long with a triple level 50 baby theme team in the Open Great League, each running a different buffed elemental punch, with Smoochum on Ice Punch, Magby on Fire Punch, and of course Elekid on Thunder Punch. Now I went into these battles with very low expectations, hoping to get at least maybe 5 wins with the team in 5 sets, but I was pleasantly surprised with the performance of this tiny trio, and the worst sets I had with this team were a couple of 2 and 3s. Now quick shout out to my friend Tango, who fully maxed out and double moved this Smoochum before trading it over to me, because I'd actually been wanting to build this team since the start of the season, but I had nowhere near enough XL candies to power on up myself, so I'm very grateful to have friends that are happy to spend a lot of their resources in order to help me create entertaining content. Now with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What is your favorite baby Pokemon? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. As we go into the first battle, leading Smoochum into Shadow Kanto Marowak. So of course, by typing alone, we should have the advantage, but unfortunately these Mud Slaps are absolutely shredding through us. If you don't know, Smoochum is actually a very classy Pokemon. We are going to see the opponent's going to State Swap into Shadow for Alligator. We come in with the Elekid, and the opponent does not throw straight away. We go straight for Thunder Punch. The opponent does not respect the damage. We get the one shot, but they come back in with that Kanto Marowak, and they're going to go for a huge Mud Slap farm down, but they no-shield the Brick Break there, which means actually whilst they've just got a big farm down, we can come in with the Smoochum, shield once, and then go for our own big farm down, going for the Powder Snow farm down, coming up with so much loaded energy, and the opponent's got a Dax Bun in the back, so we're going straight for Ice Punch. Then I will bank this energy, swapping into my Magby, and of course we are resisting the charm damage as we are a fire type. Of course Karate Chop is resisted, but Fire Punch gonna hit for neutral damage. It does some decent damage there. The opponent probably gonna go straight for a Psychic Fangs, debuffing my defense, but that's okay. I'm still able to reach another Fire Punch. This should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and even if the opponent comes out with a Charge Move loaded, it doesn't matter. Smoochum would win CMP very comfortably anyways. We're going straight for the Ice Punch. Ice Punch gets the KO there, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's to open their into next battle, see Smoochum into Lucario. So, not really great for us, of course. Powder Snow is resisted. I State Swap into my Magby, and the opponent's going to respond with a Talonflame. Now, unfortunately, we are completely walled here, but I farmed up a ton of loaded energy. So, going for the Brick Break bait, and we grab a shield. And now Fire Punch, whilst it is resisted, since we've debuffed their defense, it's going to do respectable damage, and I'm able to reach another Fire Punch as the opponent commits to a full Incinerate farm down. Fire Punch grabs the final shield from the opponent. We've just grabbed both shields from a Talonflame, which is completely walled by Magby's energy. Now at this point we're going to come in with the Elekid, and I can actually just no-shield this as the opponent goes for a Fly there. Fly is resisted damage. They swap into Credilli, and I'm going straight for a Brick Break. Of course, Brick Break going to hit for super effective damage, but more importantly, it debuffs their defense, meaning we can come in with the Smoochum, and I'm actually very happy to just double shield and go for a full Powder Snow farm down. Of course, I know Talonflame has a Charge Move already loaded, but it doesn't matter as Smoochum will win CMP in that matchup. So we go for the farm down. We've got back-to-back Side Shocks. We fire off the first one straight away into Talonflame coming back in. Side Shock gets the KO there, and we go for one extra Powder Snow. Fire off Side Shock number 2 into Lucario. Side Shock gets the one shot there, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top end there into the next battle, see Smoochum into Malamar. So, obviously a Dark type, but they are on, of course, Psywave as the fast move, which is resisted by the Smoochum. So, I'm going to shield here. I do overfarm just because Smoochum does have access to Ice Beam, which would hit a lot harder than an Ice Punch. But we're going straight for Ice Punch here. Ice Punch grabs a shield from the opponent, and we're going to throw the next Ice Punch on, I think, a CMP tie with the Malamar. Ice Punch number 2 is no shielded. We've got them very low here. I don't really want to double shield, so at this point, Foul Play gets the KO there. We're going to come in with the Magby, go for the Karate Chop farm down, and the opponent comes in with a Shadow Typhlosion. So we're going straight for Brick Break. Brick Break, of course, not going to do too much damage, but again, it's going to drop their defense. They do reach a Thunder Punch, but can Magby hang on here? Thunder Punch barely does not get the KO. That's huge for me. Now we can fire off another Brick Break. Brick Break grabs the final shield. We come in with the Elekid, committing to a Thundershock farm down, and here I accidentally tapped on the shield. I did not mean to do that, and that is really unfortunate because, of course, that was just a Thunder Punch. It couldn't have been the Blast Burn, but they come in with their final Pokemon Pokemon. It's Amanda Buzz, and Elekid needs to comfortably live a Dark Pulse here. Dark Pulse does big damage, but Snarls, they're not hitting very hard. I need this Thunder Punch to get the KO. They should be at an Aerial Ace, but Thunder Punch gets the KO there. We come out one away from the Thunder Punch, and of course, up against Incinerate, we're able to squeeze in a Thunder Shock, fire off the Thunder Punch, get the KO up against Typhlosion, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top end there into next battle, and this is actually the first battle I did with this team. We lead into Ferrothorn, so of course, Magby going to have a really good matchup up against the Ferrothorn. However, can't really swap into it because they're just going to swap out. So I'm going to stay in here. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the game plan is. I'm just going to shield the first move. They actually go for a Thunder there, which is a really interesting play. Honestly, doesn't make an awful lot of sense. I think Power Whip probably would get the KO anyways. I think Power Whip probably just does more damage anyway, since it is Stab and Thunder isn't. But either way, at this point, I'm going to let the Thunder take out the Smoochum, come in with the Magby, go for the Karate Chop farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with a Quagsire, of course, having a Pokemon double weak to fire in the lead. They're going to have answers to fire types in the back, but I'm forced to stay in because I've got Elekid, which is actually even worse in this matchup. So we go for Brick Break number 2. They no shield once again. We drop the defense again here, so I kind of need to force the opponent to stay in this matchup, but they will actually outpace me to the Aqua Tail, so I swap, and the opponent swaps at the exact same time into a Talonflame. So here we're going for the Thunder Punch after 7 Thunder Shocks. Thunder Punch grabs a shield, and they're going to fire a Charge to straight away. At this point, the opponent does not commit to the Brave Bird, and Fly is not enough damage to get the KO. Now I go for an Undercharge. Thunder Punch does not get the KO. It puts them into perfect farm down range, but is a Brick Break enough damage to take out the Quagsire from this range? No, it's barely not enough damage there, and unfortunately, despite playing that end game pretty much as perfectly as I could have done, we do end up losing that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into next battle, we see Smoochum into Pidgeot, so a great lead matchup for us, and actually great because we've also got Elekid, so if I'm not able to maintain alignment, it's actually not the worst case scenario, but they swap into Azumarill, so we're going to come in with the Elekid, go straight for Thunder Punch. Of course, Thunder Punch not going to do too much damage here just because Azumarill is incredibly bulky. But we're going to shield up the Charge Move here. I'm going to farm up 2 back-to-back Thunder Punches, throw on good timing, and they should now be at another Play Rough. But if the opponent shields here, I can fire off another Thunder Punch on the CMP Titan, possibly grab both shields from the opponent, and we're able to grab both shields. So I'm also going to double shield at this point, shielding up the Play Rough once again. The opponent then swaps into a Medicham, so I'm going to fire off a Thunder Punch, and then I'm actually going to swap into my Magby. I realize Magby not going to be great up against Azumarill, and obviously not the best up against the Pidgeot either, so I might as well sacrifice it here, and I'm actually able to reach a Fire Punch on the CMP tie as the opponent throws their Charge Move. The opponent full sends a Psychic. They will be able to counter, farm me down, but that's okay. Of course, all shields are now down. I'm going to come in with the Smoochum, and honestly, I probably could have committed to a full Powder Snow farm down, but I kind of panicked there. I go for the Ice Punch. I think I should still be in a good position here, as we're now going to fire off a Psyshock up against the Azumarill, but we're getting fairly low, and that Pidgeot is on Gust, so we're going to go for 1 Powder Snow, fire off the Ice Punch here. Ice Punch is going to, of course, connect. It does huge damage. I don't want them to Gust, farm me down, so I swap into Elekid, and that would force the opponent to either throw a Charge Move, or, of course, not throw a Charge Move there, get Thundershock farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top end there, into next battle, we see a Shadow Drapion in the lead. I'm going to stay in this matchup here, realizing Smoochum will be able to win CMP. We go straight for Ice Punch. Ice Punch does respectable damage there. And I'm going to shield. If the opponent baits, then I would swap out, but they go straight for Crunch. So now I'm going to bank an Ice Punch and then swap into my Magby here. And of course, this should be another Crunch. Crunch does big damage. They come in with a Azumarill, and unfortunately, they're able to bubble, farm me down before I'm able to reach a Brick Break there. Brick Break would have been quite nice for me just because I could debuff their defense and possibly put them into range where we can just go straight for a single Thunder Punch and get the KO up against the Azumarill. But either way, we're going to come in with the Elekid, fire off back-to-back Thunder Punches here, and then I can see my switch clock is now coming up. I think they're 1 away from their next Charge Move, so I go for 1 Thunder Shock, swap, go for the Ice Punch on the CMP tie there, going for a CMP tie sack swap. Ice Punch does connect. Of course, it's resisted damage. It doesn't do much damage there, but Play Rough gonna be taking out the Smoochum, and they reveal their final Pokemon to be an Air/Mandibuzz, which is much better for us, but it just depends. We go for Thunder Punch here. We are 1 away from the next Thunder Punch. Does this get the KO? Thunder Punch barely doesn't get the KO there. And if they're on Dark Pulse, they won't reach it yet. But unfortunately, it's a foul play. Foul play gets the KO there, and we do end up going down. But GG's to that opponent there. Into next battle, we see a Primeape in the lead, so not really ideal for us. I'm going to stay in anyways, and honestly, I'm not that confident I can live a Rage Fist, so I'm going to shield the first one, and technically Smoochum should win CMP in this matchup if I had a Hondo, but I don't. I've got 12 in attack, so we end up losing CMP here. Massive mistake. They are now, of course, double boosted, and they've got all shields down on my end, so this is not looking too good for me. But the opponent does not commit to a close combat. They go for Rage Fist, which does not get the KO, so now I can fire off the Fire Punch. Fire Punch gets the KO up against the Primeape. They come in with more Peko. They've got a shield advantage. It's not looking too good for us, but we can come in with the Elekid, and Elekid actually has a fairly decent matchup here. So this point, of course, no shields remaining. The opponent goes straight for Aura Will, doing big damage, boosting up their attack, switching forms as well. I'm going to fire off a Brick Break just before they reach the next charge move, and Brick Break is going to be no shielded by the opponent. At this point, we've put them into range where we can Powder Snow farm them down, so it really just depends what they've got in the back. We go for the Powder Snow farm down, the opponent trying to reach a last second charge move, but they're not able to do so. And they've got Ariados in the back, so if I can grab the final shield with the Ice Punch, which I'm able to do, I can reach a last second side shock. It's super effective damage, it gets the one shot up against the Ariados, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's to opponent there into next battle. We see Ariados in the lead this time around. So, we're going to stay in with the Smoochum here, of course. Lunge going to hit for super effective damage here. I'm going to farm up at least to a side shock. I'm not really sure if I will bait or if I will just full send it. Of course, they've just debuffed me. So, if I go for an Ice Punch, it's not going to do too much damage. So, I full send the side shock. Unfortunately, it is shielded by the opponent, but we can swap, catch the resisted lunge onto my Magby, and the opponent is going to swap into a Dunsparce. Now, of course, they've just dropped my attack here. I'm going to throw a Brick Break on the CMP type with the charge tree from the Dunsparce, and the opponent throws straight away. So that's actually pretty good for me. Of course, Brick Break going to drop their defense. Rock Slide gets the KO there. We can wait out the Switch Clock and then come in with my Elekid. Unfortunately, they will just barely outpace me to the first charge move, but I can comfortably outpace them to back-to-back charge moves here. So I'm going to shield the first one as they go for the drill run, then farm up to back-to-back Brick Breaks, fire off the first one. They're already debuffed, so this probably will KO here. We actually grab the final shield from the opponent, and they swap into their final Pokemon, which is Annihilate. I farmed up to back-to-back Thunder Punches. The first one, gonna do some decent damage here. I'm now gonna throw on the CMP tie with Annihilate, and I'm actually going to undercharge this just slightly so I can get some extra farm on my Smoochum. The opponent gets the KO with the Rage Fist. We come in with the Smoochum. We get that perfect farm down. And let's see. The opponent's going to come back in with the Ariados. I'm going to farm up to back-to-back Side Shocks here. This game should be well and truly wrapped up. Side Shock gets the KO there. And they're actually one away from the next charge move. But I go straight for Ice Punch. And I make a massive mistake there. I thought they were lower, but I think it's just because I had triple debuffed them with Brick Breaks that I thought an Ice Punch would get the KO. That's such a dumb mistake. First of all, I knew that they were one away from a charge move anyway, so I should have gone for the extra Powder Snow. I just thought that an Ice Punch would get the KO there, and it's obviously backfired. And of course, Side Shock would have done more damage anyway, so that would have been the right play. But either way, GG's to that opponent there. Really annoyed with that loss. Honestly, that's probably the most frustrating loss I've had all season, just because it was such a guaranteed win, and I played so well before that as well, up until that point. But anyways, into next battle, we see Azumarill in the lead, and we have, well, we've gone Side Shock so far. They actually full sent a Hydro Pump, so we are going to see the opponent swaps into Altaria. What on earth is that swap? I guess they thought they could Dragon Breath farm me down before I reach another charge move, but that is not the case, and so I grabbed the final shield. However, unfortunately, Smoochum was really the only Pokemon that was going to do any real damage up against that Altaria. So at this point, I'm going to overfarm here. I don't really want them to know how much energy we've got. We go for Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch does some decent damage, and we reach another Thunder Punch on the CMP tire, which is literally best case scenario, and we've put them into Karate Chop farm down range. So at this point, the opponent full sends the Dazzling Gleam there. We can go for a Karate Chop farm down. We're one away from a charge move. The opponent comes in with a Shadow, a Lowland Sand Slash, and this is absolutely game over. Fire Punch, double super effective, easily gets the one shot there. The opponent comes back in with a Azumarill, and again, we're one away from the charge move. And at this point, the opponent has very clearly just exited the app. They've rage quit. Fire Punch gets the KO up against the Azumarill, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG top in there. Into next battle, we see a Diggersby in the lead. So, a pretty decent matchup for us. Of course, Fire Punch going to hit for super effective damage. It will do quite a lot of damage here. So, I'm going to shield the first one. And I will win CMP in this matchup pretty comfortably. So, I'm going to farm up 2 back-to-back Ice Punches and hope the opponent also throws straight away once again. So, Ice Punch is going to grab a shield there. And I can throw Ice Punch number 2 immediately. Ice Punch is going to be double shielded by the Diggersby. So, at this point, I'm also going to match shields here. But I'm very wary that if I go straight for Ice Punch the third time around, they're probably going to make a catch. So I swap and make my own catch here, as I'm able to catch a resisted Fire Punch onto my Magby, and I put them into range where I can, of course, just fire off a Charge Sweep of my own. So we go straight for Fire Punch here. Of course, Brick Break going to hit for super effective damage, but I don't need to debuff their defense there. So Fire Punch actually is marginally better than a super effective Brick Break. But either way, the opponent's going to come in with a Clodsire. So we're going straight for Fire Punch. The opponent allows me to reach another Fire Punch here, which, I mean, it's still not going to do too much damage, but the opponent is actually looking to go for a full Poison Sting farm down here. So at this point, we go for Fire Punch number 3, and then I'm going to try and snipe with a Powder Snow, but unfortunately, that is not enough damage to get the snipe. They full send the Earthquake, they get the KO there, and I think I've thrown away this game. They've got Malamar in the back. It's not looking too good for us unless the opponent goes straight for a superpower, debuffing their attack, and I'm able to reach back-to-back Thunder Punches. It just depends, can I live the Psywave damage here? Thunder Punch, we're able to get off a second Thunder Punch, and of course, with that debuff to their defense, Thunder Punch number 2 takes out the Malamar, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG top in there. Into next battle, we see a Shadow Dragonite in the lead. So, a great lead matchup for us. Look at that Powder Snow damage. I'm actually going to go and fire off an Ice Punch straight away here. What I could have done is maybe committed one shield and gone for a full Powder Snow farm down, but instead, I opt to grab an early shield advantage. The opponent uses the shield there and then swaps into a Shadow Drapion. Now, unfortunately, with the Dragon Breath damage, they put me into Aqua Tail farm down range, or sorry, Aqua Tail KO range there. So, I'm going to use my shield, then swap into my Elekid. And at this point, I think I'm just going to no-shield this. The opponent is going to full stand the crunch. It does big damage, but it does not drop my defense. And I'm just barely able to get the farm down there. But then I make a huge throw. What on earth am I doing? I go for Break, which is resisted. And it doesn't get the KO there. If I went for Thunder Punch, I did. Of course, I kind of expected the opponent to shield there, which is why I went for it. But of course, if I went for Thunder Punch, I'd have had another Thunder Punch loaded 4-bit barrel. And this would have been a comfortable matchup for me. But now, unfortunately, I also come in with the Smoochum, hoping the Dragonite would throw the energy, and it all just backfires massively, and we end up going down 2-bit barrel. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next battle. Another great lead. Let's see if I can not throw this one away, as we see a Tropius here. But unfortunately, even though Powder Snows are double super effective, these Razor Leafs are absolutely shredding through us right now. So, of course, I'm going to shield. I've got another Ice Punch already loaded. I'm going to throw this, and then I think I will be swapping into my Magby. So, Ice Punch grabs the shield. We swap into Magby, and they come in with a Galarian Stunfisk, which is actually a very positive matchup for us when we do have a shield advantage, as we go straight for Fire Punch there. Fire Punch unfortunately does not put them into Karate Chop farm down range. However, it doesn't really matter too much. I'm going to overfarm in this matchup, fire off the Fire Punch just before they reach Rock Slide number 2, and of course from this range, Fire Punch easily takes out the Stunfisk, and they've got a Mandibuzz in the back, so things are looking pretty good for us to sweep now. We go straight for Fire Punch again. Fire Punch does some decent damage there. We can go for Fire Punch number 2, and then I will swap into my Elekid. After the Charge Reef here, they come back in with the Tropius. I'm going to overfarm, throw on the CMP tie there. Is Thunder Punch enough damage to get the KO? Yes, it absolutely is. And we are one away from another Thunder Punch, which we can throw straight away into Mandibuzz. Thunder Punch gets the KO there, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top end there. Into the next battle, we see Smoochum into Unnovan Stunfisk. So again, a fairly good matchup for me. I'm going to go straight for Ice Punch, but it actually gets caught there. And typically, I don't go straight for the Charge Reef, and I'm really annoyed that I did this time around, because if the opponent tried to catch and I didn't throw straight away, a Psyshock is going to one-shot a Primeape. So unfortunately, I'm really annoyed about that as well. I tried to commit to the farm down, barely not able to do so. They're boosted, but Rage Fist just barely doesn't take us out there. But unfortunately, I'm only going to have one Charge Reef, even though I have back-to-back. So I go for the Fire Punch there. We're going to be forced to come back in with the Smoochum, of course, because Elekid is completely walled by that Unnovan Stunfisk. Of course, Brick Break is neutral, but it's just not going to do much damage at all. We are going to have to double shield here, but the opponent doesn't throw straight away. So Ice Punch, going to be shielded by the opponent. They throw on the CMP tie. So at this point, I'm going to have to shield here. do as much damage as I can with the Powder Snows, and I'm actually able to reach another Ice Punch. And at this point, I'm hoping the opponent does just let us go down. They do let it go down, and they come in with their final Pokemon, which is actually weak to the electric typing. Now, honestly, I had a very, very risky win condition here, which was to bait with a Brick Break, and then of course have it shielded, and then land a Thunder Punch, because unfortunately, whilst Thunder Shock and Thunder Punch have been buffed this season, Togetic is actually pretty bulky, and they're able to hang on there. Of course, I didn't know that they'd be on Ancient Power. I thought they'd probably be on Dazzling Gleam anyways, but either way, GG's to the opponent there. Very, very close loss, but into the next battle, we're going to see a Shadow Quagsire in the lead. So this is definitely where we want to see it. Still not really that great for us, but either way, we're going to fire off the Ice Punch. They do actually just go straight for Aqua Tail, so I could probably let this go through. However, I'm going to shield anyways, so they go for the Aqua Tail there, and then I'm thinking, you know what? I can probably commit both shields and then go for a full Powder Snow farm down. It's going to be really close. I need to commit to this farm down, and we're able to just barely get that farm down there. We are, of course, down 2 shields. We've got a lot of energy, and they come in with a Hypno. So actually, not too bad here, because we are resisting the confusion damage. I can fire off back-to-back Ice Punches straight away. Ice Punch number 2, gonna be no-shielded again, and I'm able to reach a 3rd Ice Punch before they can farm me down, or even reach an Elemental Punch of their own. I'm now gonna swap into my Elekid, and they come in with more Peko, and this is actually really good for me. We can go straight for Brick Break, debuff their defense there, of course, hitting for super effective damage as well, and they won't be able to KO me with any one charge move. They actually go for Seed Bomb there. I think you probably do just want to go for Aura Will if you're on Seed Bomb, just because, of course, Seed Bomb not going to do that much damage anyways. Aura Will does at least boost up their attack, and the opponent commits to a farm down, underestimating the energy generation on the Elekid. Brick Break gets the KO there, and all we have to do is not go down to 1 charge move on our Magby. Please don't have like Focus Blast or something. It's just a Thunder Punch. We can reach a Fire Punch on the CMP tie, and of course, Fire Punch, even without hitting any bubbles at all, gets the KO up against the Hypno, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's up in there into the next battle, see a Shadow Steelix in the lead. So I've got 2 Pokemon that actually, even though Elekid, you think, well, that's not a very good matchup, it's actually not that bad, since, well, Shadow Steelix is typically, these days, going to be on Thunder Fang, because we do resist that, and we've got Brick Break to just just continuously spam debuffing attacks. But either way, unfortunately, throw on CMP, they boost up their attack with a Rage Fist, not really ideal. We're going to come back in with the Smoochum, and I will just go straight for a Side Shock. Honestly, if the opponent shields here, it's probably game over. But we go for the Side Shock. Side Shock gets the KO. I'm going to swap instantly into my Elekid. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to just let this move go through. Probably going to be a Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs going to drop my defense there. And they swap into Serperior. So really not looking too good for me right now. Going to go straight for the Brick Break. Brick Break, of course, not going to do much damage. And even though I'm expecting an Aerial Ace, I'm going to shield anyways. It's actually a Leaf Tornado, and they debuff my attack, which is even worse for me. Of course, I wasn't really doing much damage in the first place, but it's now just even worse for me. But we can swap. We double debuff their defense. If they don't get the attack debuff this time around, I should be able to Powder Snow, farm them down, but they get the debuff again. And I realize at this point, there's just nothing I can do, so I'm just going to concede the match. But GG's top in there. Into the next battle, we see a Clodsire in the lead. So good leaf matchup for me. I'm going to go straight for Side Shock here, as I realize they're probably not going to shield, not respecting the damage, and that does huge damage. Now at this point, I'm going to shield. They full send the Stone Edge, and I'm going to try to commit to a full farm down. Unfortunately, just barely not going to be able to do so. So I swap into my Elekid. I'm able to catch a Stone Edge, which is very nice, and then go for a Thunder Shock farm down. Now, of course, they got a ground type in the lead. I'm hoping they don't have an answer to electric in the back, and they come in with a jump bluff. So I'm going straight for Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch, not really going to do too much damage here, but I will reach another Thunder Punch on the CMP tie with this jump bluff. Thunder Punch number 2 gets them into the yellow health range. And this point, I'm definitely just going to let this move go through. The opponent full sends the energy ball there, and I'm going to come in with my Magby. So, of course, I could have come in with the Smoochum, but that probably, honestly, I was expecting the opponent to just swap out straight away. But anyways, Fire Punch gets the KO, and they come in with their final Pokemon, which is a Charge Bug. So at this point, I'm going straight for Brick Break. Brick Break is going to drop their defense, and that is quite important for me. I'm now going to use my shield. The opponent baits with an X-Scissor here. So at this point, honestly, They're still going to need one more volt switch to reach a discharge, so I shouldn't have swapped out straight away there. I should have stayed in with the Magby, then eventually swapped into my Smoochum, go for a sideshow there. That does big damage, but they can now just go and settle for an X-Scissor. X-Scissor gets the KO there. They are 2 away from the charge move, but I'm just barely able to outpace them. Well, reaching a Fire Punch on the CMP tie, winning CMP, Fire Punch gets the KO there, and I'm able to take that game. So GG Turbo there. Into the next battle, we see a Shadow Annihilate in the lead. So honestly, this Annihilate could absolutely get out of hand here if they choose to just double shield. We're going to go straight for a side shock, and unfortunately the opponent does shield that up there. At this point I realize I'm actually probably not even going to reach another charge move, so gonna let the Smoochum go down, come in with my Elekid, and honestly I'm hoping the opponent throws another charge move here, because if they commit to a full counter farm down, I don't think I'm going to reach another Thunder Punch. But the opponent does throw another charge move here, and whilst yes they are boosting up their attack once again, they miss out on one counter, and that actually would have made the difference. But either way, Thunder Punch will be getting the KO here. We can come in with the Magby. They've got a Dunsparce in the bag, so honestly, not too bad for us, but let's see what we can do. We go straight for Break here, and if the opponent tries to throw it on good timing, I can now go straight for Fire Punch. I've debuffed their defense. Fire Punch is going to do big damage, and it actually gets the KO there, but they've got a Corviknight, and they're on Sand Attack, and unfortunately, even though we're a Fire type here, Fire Punch is going to do big damage in this matchup. They will just barely be able to get that Sand Attack farm down, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into possibly the final battle of this video, leading into a Talonflame. Not very ideal for us. We're going to say swap into our Magby, and the opponent is going to stay in, fire off a charge move. I'm going to shield. They full send the Brave Bird there before swapping into a Miltank. Now, at this point, I farmed out to 100 energy. Not really sure why. We're going to go for the Break there, and I go for a Fire Punch immediately, as they did have the energy now for a Body Slam, but they no shield, and they continue to overfarm. We're able to get the farm down there. They come in, and we barely hang on there, living that Mud Slap. That is insane. Fire Punch grabs a shield from the opponent. We come in with the Smoochum. Of course, I'm going to have to use my final shield here. I'm expecting the opponent probably will swap out straight away, so they swap into Talonflame. We can come in with the Elekid, and I'm going to go for a Thunder Punch on the CMP tie here. Thunder Punch is going to be undercharged, and the opponent throws their charge move straight away. Of course, we've already seen Brave Bird. They full send it again. Brave Bird gets the one shot, but I can now overfarm by 4 Powder Snows. Go for an Ice Punch here. Ice Punch, of course, gonna get the KO. I can go for 1 extra Powder Snow just to throw on good timing, and go for an Ice Punch, which easily takes out the Shadow Golurk, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.